to the Four Idle Hands podcast in its legs 11, Terry.
It is. It's time to turn it up to 11.
Turn it up to 11 is right. And we're going to be rattling through some news. We've got an interview with the Capollos this week, a local Aberdeen band. We've got a new single out. We're previewing the Love Record Stores event, which is this Saturday, an online one. And we've got TV reviews and also some music reviews of recent releases from Liam Gallaghers, Go Penguin, and Green Gartside out of Squiddy Polity, who has a new single out. So this week, Terry, we've had a lot of excitement in terms of the news with demos, statues and shopping taking first headline, I think.
Is that kind of things you'd miss most, demos, statues and shopping then?
Well, they're all things you can do with absolutely no social distancing by the looks of it.
Well, they had a big, on Sunday, they did have a big Black Lives Matter parade in Aberdeen, which when I saw the pictures, I think it was about 500 to maybe 1,000 people there. It was very substantial with speakers and all sorts, but which for Aberdeen, it was quite impressive, I thought. So. Yeah,
I don't think people would get anywhere near as exercised about stuff like this. I'm not saying that it's not a worthwhile cause or anything like that, but it's the fact that they've been locked up for about 12 weeks and everybody's got bored out of their loaves. Nobody's paying any attention to them on Instagram anymore because there's no oxygen, no publicity there whatsoever. So this is a great opportunity to have a me moment.
And I have to say, though, in Aberdeen, there was no statues defaced whatsoever, which was quite good. So,
yeah,
I think the statue of William Wallace was left, thankfully, untouched.
Yeah,
at the weekend. So, but not like London. That thing they had in London and Westminster, was that on Sunday as well? It was. Basically, it was kind of a right-wing march, and attacking the police was just shocking, actually. So.
Yeah, and speaking of attacks, we had some related celebrity news. At Middleton, described memorably by Danny Wallace as the squashed Rylan, has managed to lump the Black Lives Matter movement in with the English Defence League, describing both of them as absolute scum.
Well, he does have a bit of form, though, because was he not at the very start of the whole sort of lockdown? He made some comments as well. I think possibly misinterpreted at the start on the virus and so on. But there's been so many people just wading into all these discussions this week, and I do find it all a bit bewildering. And the scene of them showing, putting a box around the Churchill statue, and people turning out to defend the statues, from defacement.
Yeah, and some of the statues that we're trying to defend were interesting as well. I saw a photograph of a guy this morning in England wearing a sort of flak jacket, and he was, with a bunch of his tough-looking mates, were defending a statue of George Eliot, the writer of Middlemarch and Silas Marner.
And what was the worry there? What was the thought?
Well, I don't know. It seemed pretty obvious to me. They had no idea who she was.
and I did see my favourite league, the Loyalist Defence League, were turning out in force in Glasgow on Sunday as well with their flags and so on, and they were defending. Was it Peel statue? Was that the one they were outside in Glasgow, outside the City Hall? And
yeah,
just all. You're right. People are just wanting to get out and get a bit of fresh air, but some of these people, you do kind of wonder. And of course, that leads us on to the fact that the 12th, the Orange 12th in Northern Ireland will go online.
Yes. So apparently, all the walks are cancelled due to the virus, and the Grand Orange Lodge of Scotland are apparently hoping to broadcast footage of previous marches as well as a live church service.
Well, yeah, they've been obviously looking at the BBC's plans for Glastonbury and decided that they can have some sort of greatest hits of the 12th running. But funny enough, I was speaking to a friend yesterday who lives down the Ormeau Road, which is obviously, and for those who don't know Belfast, Ormeau Road's a very kind of mixed area as you go up the area from Belfast City Centre, and apparently they are going to have some local protests. Some local bands are allowed to walk in their local areas, but not kind of to cross the borders into other communities and stuff. But
yeah, normally this would be a source of great celebration for the nationalist community in Northern Ireland and indeed in the west of Scotland. But because certainly I think it'd be fair to say in Northern Ireland, it was maybe a time of the year when people of a certain persuasion decided to leave to go on holidays until it had all boiled over, but they won't have to bother with it this year.
No, and the 12th, they're a bit conflicted because the 12th does fall on a Sunday this year, so that's obviously a day of rest, and so I guess the 13th will be the local holiday sort of thing. But yeah, so we're going to be online. I mean, I did venture into the whole the dark web of online church services at the weekend to try and find my mum the live stream of her local church. So which I did find eventually. It was quite. They'd actually been very good. Actually, what they're doing is obviously a lot of people are not getting to church, and they'd made like, it wasn't actually live. They'd made like a little 30-minute video of people singing and some reading and stuff and everything. So I'm sure the Grand Orage Lodge of Scotland will do a wonderful job with that, and they might enlist some local celebs to maybe do a commentary on it or something. So
celebs.
I'm trying to think if somebody
Aunt Middleton, maybe.
Aunt Middleton, maybe somebody from Rangers. They might have Richard Gough might turn up and do a comment. Anyway, but it is what it is actually. So, but
yeah. And in other news, obviously we had the debacle of the shops reopening down south, and I think people in Scotland would be a bit more measured about their approach to get buying their sportswear than what we saw yesterday.
Yeah, I mean, I was surprised that the Nike Town one was the one that kind of made the news in London, which obviously is right on Oxford Circus. And apparently, what they'd done was they'd opened with a sale. Which was probably the worst thing to do, maybe, because people were, crushing in, but they seemed to have no crowd control whatsoever. And most of the other places I saw, the Primarks and so on, seemed to have fairly but long queues. Though, my goodness, it seemed to be. I mean, I assume it would be the same here if they did when they do reopen, but.
Yeah, I mean, and Primark is a strange shop, isn't it? They've got no online web shop whatsoever, which I think is why you had so much. Pent-up demand. I mean, we had separate disastrous experiences of ordering footwear online, I think, over the last couple of weeks. Terry, what did you get again?
Well, I ordered a pair of shoes, red size 9, and a pair of 6 yellow ladies' shoes arrived instead. So we actually ended up keeping both, so they made a bit of money. But I think I think people will go back. I mean, I think it's quite a good opportunity for the small, local shops because there's less of a risk. I don't really want to queue up for an hour to get into a Debenhams if they're still open. But I would certainly try and go to local shops and so on. I think that's definitely an advantage for that. But and I'm assuming, I don't know when Scotland, I guess that's phase 3, for the reopening of shops. So that would be.
Oh, well, I'm hoping it's phase 2, is it not? I mean, I think Nicola's supposed to be spilling the beans on Thursday. So fingers crossed, will be some relaxation.
Well, I hope so. I mean, there is certainly from my experience this week. Some of the bars in Aberdeen are looking to kind of put outdoor seating, and as there was commented on, develop a Spanish cafe culture outside, minus the weather possibly.
Spanish flu, maybe.
Spanish flu. Places are going to have outdoor seating with obviously the Premier League starts again tomorrow, so they're going to have, and there's football on every single day now. So I guess there's an opportunity for that as long as they sort of social distance and have table service and. But they need to kind of quite tightly control that, because that could end up, especially in the city centre, like you might have large crowds turning up potentially to get in and so on. So,
well, particularly when you said it's like a kind of day long fiesta of football and drink, obviously.
Yeah, well, one of the bars I heard was open at 12 p.m. a.m. Well, noon actually.
Noon,
and then stay open till 10:30 at night. So it's a long day, and it's going to be hot weather this weekend apparently in Aberdeen. So. I mean, it's good to see them open again, and I guess there's lots of opportunities in any cities for open spaces to be used. And for those who've not been down Aberdeen, the Union Street, it is going to be pedestrianised now. So a lot of the side streets, like Chapel Street, are blocked off. I think Thistle Street has got double yellow lines up it now, so there's no parking. So there's definitely opportunities for that, but it obviously needs to be fairly sort of tightly controlled, I think. So,
yeah.
But hopefully, it's quite nice to see people kind of getting back to some sort of normality again.
Absolutely, and as long as it's safe to do it, I'm all in favour of it, and we'll just have to see what Nicola says later this week. And then in other matters, you've been continuing your exploration of lockdown music events, Terry. And this week you were watching Laura Marling at the Union Chapel, possibly one of the strangest gigs of all time.
It was very odd. I mean, I'd paid for a ticket, which I think certain people thought, my family thought I was mental to do that when you can stream most for free. But I kind of wanted to try it. Obviously it supports her, and she was using the money to support other artists as well. So you paid your money. It was £12. It was Union Chapel, which is a lovely venue. I've never been, but it was a church, obviously. She had 2 stages. Slightly annoying was the camera was constantly moving like around her, sort of on a sort of 360 degree. She was remarkably unmoved by it all, by the way. She was really focused on her music. The music was very good. She did an hour. She moved between these 2 stages, one to the side and kind of one more in the round in the middle. Did a good set of sort of some songs for her new album and older stuff. She didn't acknowledge the start of the concert. There was no chat whatsoever, which I did find a bit annoying. That she should have said hello, good evening, welcome to the world, because she would have had a worldwide audience, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
But the quality of the show was great. High definition, sound was great. So there's nothing to complain about there. It was an hour. I kind of felt a bit short for my £12, but but it was fine. It was good. Would I do it again? Well, I have bought another ticket for a £5 concert this time, whose name I forget, the band actually. But it was all right. I mean, interesting enough on our Facebook page, people had made comments about the gig, and the majority comments made were really just the fact that there was no interaction. And I guess it must be quite strange to not interact directly with somebody. So
yeah,
maybe she thought it was easier just to say nothing. So, but it was very positive. I did enjoy it for sure, actually. So,
and some people who were definitely not saying nothing were public service broadcasting. I think you were taking part in a pub quiz at the weekend, Terry.
I did. No, I don't want to do them at the service, because I have to say, after it was 2.5 hours.
2.5 hours
for yeah. Well, there was a Q&A at the end, which I didn't really stay for. But there's obviously 4 members. Each member had 10 questions. They had some technology challenges, which apparently is just their band. That's J.W. Wilgus, who we spoke to before, said they have constant issues when they're playing. So it was very much a homegrown thing. It was for Bowel Cancer UK. It actually got better, the technology, as it went on, but I enjoyed it. I mean, their banter between the 4 members was funny. The questions got ridiculously hard towards the end.
What type of things were they asking?
It was all general knowledge. Obviously, there was a few questions based on some of their songs. They had, like, who was the 3rd person to land on the moon? Which I suddenly should have realised what I did know what they told you who it was, but I've forgotten. It was the height of Everest, I think, was one question. Obviously, one of their songs, Everest. Was there a coal mining question as well? But it was very entertaining. And again, they raised a couple of grand in the night for the charity, and I think they had some. They had a text in. You could text in, text in 5 PSB. To donate £5 to the charity. So
okay.
So it was pretty good. And they're actually on this Saturday, the 13th, on the Tim's Twitter listening party for Every Valley. So
yeah,
so
and the last one, the Race for Space one, was great, wasn't it? So
it was very good. I was very impressed, though. One of the guys, now what's his name, Mr. B, is that they call him? He got through a lot of beer in that 2 hours. and I have to say, I got one of the answers right because of my beer. So one of the answers was which female artist has the 3rd highest number 1 albums in Britain?
Would that be Rhubarbara Streisand?
Oh, Michael, you got it.
Yeah, I saw a photograph of it the other day. I kind of figured that was probably what it was. Great name for a beer.
It's excellent. And it's a lovely beer. And I was going, and my wife, she couldn't figure it out at all. We thought Beyonce. And then I said, no, I think it's Barbara Streisand. And it was. So there we go. So that was good. But a good event, and it is some money. And I think Tim's Twitter one, like you say, on Friday, a Saturday night should be very good, actually. So
yeah. And also this week we've been speaking to a band who got a new single out. It's Aberdeen's finest, the Capollos, and myself and Terry had a chat with them. There were so many of them, Terry, that we couldn't even speak to them all at one time
I felt
technological problems.
I felt so bad. Also, they have a new single out on all sort of streaming media called "Electrify," which is a great song, by the way. I recommend you have a listen to that. And I didn't realize that you can only have 5 people on our little chats here, so one of the band didn't get to join. But it was fair to say we had a very entertaining chat with them for half an hour.
Yep.
On sort of all sorts of what they've been buying in lockdown and playing in Aberdeen, live gigs. Problems getting on the radio, etc. But a good interview, I think. So,
yeah, let's have a listen.
Hello, Greg.
How's it going?
Not too bad. How are you doing?
Yeah, not too bad. Not too bad. Just finished work about an hour ago, so I've just had a wee nap. So I'm just up for the call.
Yeah, just don't be dopey during this interview. It might make your career.
Yeah, I know. I made sure I got up 15 minutes earlier, so I wasn't too bad. But too fair,
okay,
a good power nap. So
okay. So we got Greg, we got Brett, we got Kyle on. But we've got all now. I've never had this many people before.
No, it's exciting.
I'm in.
Yeah, I think we're just waiting for Lloyd.
Yeah, he's having a slash.
Classic.
So are you guys from Kincorth? Is that right? I'm thinking.
Yeah, Kincorth.
Okay,
yeah.
All right. Okay, I've done some research, as you might find out shortly. So,
well, two of us are. Me and Lloyd are from Kincorth.
Are you brothers?
Yeah, we're twins.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah, exactly. So, because I was chatting to Claire Stevenson at Original FM. So, she was telling me all about you, sort of thing. So,
yeah, she's a legend.
Well, I work with Claire's sister. So, she's mentioned you a few times actually. So, but we never had a whole band on before, so it's quite exciting.
Well,
absolutely.
Yeah. So
absolutely.
So we got Michael is in Edinburgh.
Hello, gents.
So am I.
Nice one.
And I'm in Aberdeen. So Michael has the Chameleon Record Shop on Union Grove, which is where we started this off, sort of thing. So
epicenter of the music scene in Aberdeen.
Absolutely, Chameleon's a good little shop.
Nice.
There you go.
No, what is man?
So where do you work, Greg? Are you?
Where do I work? I work at Apache, so it's like a oil and gas company. So
I am aware of Apache, yes. So that's fine.
Yeah, you never know. Some folk don't. But
okay,
so I'm working from home, so it's not too bad just now.
Okay,
it's keeping me busy.
Okay, it's kind of weird because I've not been. I work for Expro out in Dice, and I've not been. Furthest I've been probably is I've been to Cooter actually. I've been to Peter Cooter to get petrol one day, but I've not been outside the airport or to Kingswell at all actually. So,
nice.
In 10 weeks. So, but all right. So, do you want to hang on for one more? Or are you gonna?
Yeah, Lloyd just messaged just now in the group, and he just says the room's full apparently.
Oh, maybe.
It's a maximum number, right? Okay.
Okay. Well, so we never had it. So, okay, guys, you don't mind, or?
Yeah, it should be sound.
Sure
I'll go and I'll go and let Lloyd know. Give me a second.
Sorry about that. I didn't realise there's a limit on that.
No worries. I'll just go and reply to him.
Like Brett was a guy that liked Tom Waits, wasn't it?
Yeah, he is. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Can you hear me okay, guys? Yeah. Ah, sweet. Yeah. No, I'm a massive Tom Waits fan.
So we'll come to that in a minute. No, I was watching some interviews of you this morning actually. So.
There's a few funny ones about like.
Okay, no, it was all right. It was okay. No, I watched the Silver City sessions, and and my son Stuart, he knows a guy he used to work at Fierce that does some of that. I don't know if he does the filming or what he does, but he'd seen a few of those before actually. So, but
nice. Yeah, I think that was one of our first interviews.
Okay,
a couple of years ago.
Because there was one recently with the Vintage Music Society. What's that one? Is that the one that was recently?
So that's our pal Alex. Alex is he's from Aberdeen out in Kemeny, but he's been studying down in Edinburgh of late. But he's just tried to do like a music blog. Okay. And we've come pally with him. He came in with us in our like Scottish side of the tour last year, and he filmed quite a fair bit of it for us. So he does like bits and bobs like that. I think it is like a graphic kind of course he's doing.
Okay, all right. Oh, that sounds cool. So.
Where else did you play apart from Aberdeen on your tour?
So we played Newcastle in Think Tank. I was the first time we've been in England as a band, so it was nice to just dip the toe just literally in the city closest. So we played there. We did Glasgow, we did broadcast there, Sneaky Pete's in Edinburgh, Beat Generate in Dundee, and then Unit 51 obviously up in Aberdeen.
Okay. Cool. Did you find Newcastle crowd very different than the Scottish crowd, or just?
I mean, I think no matter where you go, if you're a new band or whatever, I think you're always going to have like the people kind of stand in that semicircle, just kind of waiting, for someone to go closer so everyone else goes closer. Okay. It was a bit like that down there as well, but I mean, you can't really beat the Scottish fans anyway.
Okay. To be fair, we did actually have a couple of folk that lived in Manchester. They came up to come and see us as well, so it was kind of good to. We've spoken to them back and forth, obviously on social media, and it was good to actually come and finally meet them. So it's good that we know that we've got fans outside Scotland, which is sound.
And where had they heard about you? Was it social media or YouTube or something like that, or radio?
I think it was Twitter. I think because they messaged us saying you need to come down to Manchester, and I think when they saw that we were going to Newcastle, they kind of thought, we better jump on it and go and see them. So it was sound. Speak to them.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, one of the things you mentioned, actually, we kind of started here, was you having to push to get gigs. I mean, have you been kind of pushing to? I mean, obviously not now, but I mean, pushing to go, London, for example, or further south than Newcastle, for gigs in the future, or what would you?
We definitely have been. We were this tour we're meant to be doing this gigs we're meant to be doing in May. It was actually meant to be like a tour we were going to be doing, so we're actually going to be going down to London. This feeling we're going to organise that for us, and it was all organised. Okay. Unfortunately, just due to COVID, it kind of got pulled. But we're going to be doing London, Margate, then up to Leeds as well. So there was a few different places. To be fair, we really wanted just to go to Manchester. To be fair, because we've got a couple of fans already. We know there'll be more people probably be there, so they would like us. Okay.
And was that like a headline show, or are you supporting somebody else? Or
I think we're going to be supporting. But to be fair, when you go to these places for the first time, it's probably best off, if you're even getting in between slot between the first and the last act. Yeah. Because people will stay, for the first act, and then if people are wanting to be there for the last act, you're in between. You get the best of both worlds, so to speak.
Yeah. Okay, that's quite cool. That's quite exciting. So, unfortunately, it was obviously cancelled. But which brings me on to the reason we're talking today. Well, obviously, tomorrow you're releasing a new single, Electrify.
Yeah.
Which is, I do really like. I love that song. Actually, it's very, very good.
Cheers, man.
So when was that recorded? I mean, not that recently, I guess, but.
So it was recorded just January. The song actually kind of came about, I'd say October last year. We tried to get out for the tour, and we really wanted to save this one song just for Aberdeen, just so we could play it when all the all our fans were there in Unit 51. So we debuted it a little bit just in Dundee, and it went well. So we did it again at Unit 51, and then, as I said, we kind of just had a bit of a hiatus just in over Christmas, and then in January time we decided to just get in the studio just while it was quiet, because nobody really wanted to go and record in January, so we thought we might as well just go for it, get it done.
Okay. And was that in Aberdeen, or where was that?
It was, it was at a friend's studio, so we just jumped in there, recorded the drums, guitars there, and then I went to another friend's house to do the vocals, and this other guy does all the mixing and mastering for us, and he's been doing it for years. So.
It's a very good recording. The whole thing has got a great sound to it.
Yeah, he's why we use this guy, Michael, just because if you listen to it before the recording, just it's insane what he can do to the song just to make it. He knows exactly what we like, and so we think it sounds massive as well. So always pleased with.
He mixes songs at the start. When we first came about as a band, he did the mixing for the likes of Get Out. It's one of our oldest songs. Sorry, so he did the mixing then. I suppose it was kind of developed a friendship with him, and he's been really good. He knows our sound now, so we're never too scared, to go with him for the song, because we know what he's going to do.
And where does he record? Whereabouts in Aberdeen is that based then?
Well, he literally he lives with his folks still, but he's just got a little box room, and I mean that's all you need nowadays. In all honesty, I mean you get people just with their home studios, and I mean some of their home studios are better than the studios you'd go to professionally.
Okay, all right. But it's funny you mentioned that sound Get Out, because I listened to that song today, and it did sound a similar. Just the production of it. I mean, I'm not an expert, but it sort of sounded like I could believe he did the same song. But I mean, hope you don't mind, but I let my younger lad listen to it, and he was very impressed. He's a bit of an indie lad, and he thought it was full. It is a pretty full-on track from the start. It's got a great riff in it, so I would imagine it would go down very well when you will get to play it live. So,
absolutely. Well, with Electrify, the kind of we all started with us just having a wee bit of a jam, in the studio. It was just one of those songs that I think we'd played maybe a cover of one song, and I think I recall Greg playing a drum beat, and I just go and just keep smashing that drum beat out, and it was just a case of, like I started playing a little riff, just one of those things you just kind of do randomly, just like a random riff I just did, and it went on from just me doing that, from literally Greg doing a drum solo, Lloyd doing the bass solos, Brett's doing a guitar solo. There's no singing; it's an instrumental, and we're just going wild in the studio. And it's like a good laugh. We're all really enjoying ourselves. It was full on.
We were completely rinsed with sweat by the end of it.
Every week, we just spent 10 minutes
do a drum solo,
go flying through the song, thinking like, what is the boys in the other side of the studio thinking?
I know.
and is this room soundproof? Because I was kind of thinking if you're doing this in his house.
It is. It's soundproof.
Okay, well, I imagine there's mum and dad trying to watch EastEnders or something in the room next door.
I think they'd be used to it now. The two of us in the house, they must be used to the noise nowadays.
Okay. Okay. And I mean, so it's released tomorrow, so I guess it's on all sort of streaming platforms and Spotify. Are you going to be watching it at midnight when it clicks over onto available, or?
Yeah, I always like signing up for it. It's just I like just seeing it go on and then just getting the satisfaction of actually just seeing it there.
Okay.
So
it's released. Yeah, it's just out.
Okay.
Not fair, but I might do it tonight.
I definitely would if I was ever going to release a single. I'd like to see it sort of pop on there. So I mean, just given where we are, and obviously, I'm sure if this was normal life, you'd be probably playing some gigs over the weekend, possibly whatever. But I mean, had you thought about delaying it, or was just kind of think it's a good song?
Well, to be fair, we did discuss it just recently. To be fair, just as lockdown was actually like coming together, I was humming and haying it anyway. I didn't tell any of the boys, just because I thought it was maybe just me just thinking maybe we should delay this song, from going out. And obviously as it kind of got closer and closer to the actual deadline of the song, like when it's coming out, I was kind of humming and haying whether we pull it or not. But to be fair, I'm kind of glad we've kind of let it run, and I'm glad it's now it's going to be out, and I'm just buzzing for everyone to hear it. I think it's probably one of our strongest songs, one of our heaviest ones as well. And I really want people just to take this song and, like just tell all their friends and just have a good time with it. You know what I mean?
It's been like a year since our last one. I think I just feel like we need to get something out there to kind of keep folk, interested. And I think we actually meant to release it in May, but then the tour got cancelled. But it's given us time to actually get media sorted and message folk and stuff. So I think, and folk seem to be, exactly. So folk seem to be absolutely buzzing for it. So yeah, I'm excited to release it as well.
You mentioned it's been quite a long time since your last release. Why was that then? Any reason, or just?
No, it was to be fair, but just we've all got like things going on outside, of our band life, and to be fair, with the tour we had coming up, we were gigging as well. I recall, prior to the tour anyway of last October, November. So I suppose we were happy enough just with the set, and we just want to kind of make sure everyone out there knew the words.
Yeah. If anything, it's quite tough as well getting in the studio. And I think we did have gigs like every month, so we're always practicing for the gigs. We never really got a chance to just sit down and just kind of go through a new song and stuff. So that's pretty much why. Yeah.
Okay. And what's, I mean, obviously the immediate plans, obviously, is to push the single and so on. But I guess you're writing songs as you go along for the future as well, or?
Yeah, we've got another 2 in the burner just now. One of them's recorded. The other one can be recorded at home. It is called Home as well, so it's quite a nice little touch to it. Okay. But yeah, I can record that. I'm just waiting to go back home. I'm actually down in Edinburgh for a lockdown as well at the moment. Just due to the fact my granda, he moved into the house and I kind of came down here to see my girlfriend. So once I'm back up the road, once like I'm able to make as much noise as I possibly can in my house, I will be recording that again.
So you weren't one of the guys on the beach in Edinburgh a few weeks ago, were you?
No.
Good boy.
That gave me the absolute fear going near that beach. Like,
okay.
So, sorry, Terry, I'll cut across there a wee second. As musicians, obviously, with a lot of time in your hands, the last couple of months, you've written a few bits and bobs, but have any of you bought any new kit that you're dying to take out in the road in due course?
I have. Yeah, I've spent an absolute fortune.
So, what you'll learn about Brett is Brett's the pedal man.
Okay.
All right.
Not just that, man. Like Greg, surprise! I bought a new guitar. I messaged Kyle about a new. It's like a Japanese Yamaha made. It's quite a nice one. It's a little bit expensive, but I messaged Kyle saying I think this will be the one that I'll take for this year, like just to have as a promotion for a new single and stuff. I went, that's quite nice. So then I wanted to try and get it at my local music shop, and they sold out. So I panicked online.
As you do.
And it came in an absolute. It came in an absolute mess. Like the frets were just knackered. So I've been back and forth. So it did get repaired. So I do have that. So I'm just waiting for us to be back together. I can whip up this new machine.
Is it a new guitar? A new one? Yeah. Okay.
Oh yeah, brand new guitar. Yeah.
I
don't like buying new guitars. I like buying used guitars. I like things that have been broken into. But this is a new model, so I thought make my own sort of stamp on it. I've spent about hundreds of pounds worth of like effect pedals. What I do live is that I've got a 3-foot flight case, and it's got all my sounds, and it's like bomb proof, so it can be about it's fine. But on a Wednesday after work, and we're all going down to like the studio to like rehearse, it's not practical going home, change, lugging like the 15-kilo flight case in the car and the guitars and stuff. So I went and bought like a mini pedal board, and it's got all these like sort of my sound condensed, but it then trailed off to me buying like pedals that make it sound like a synthesizer and just mad stupid stuff. And then I'm sure Kyle's fed up with it. He's like, you could probably one that sounds like
speaking about the pedals.
I better stop.
I know. It's at times where he's been messaging me quite a fair bit, just saying like, what do you think about this pedal and stuff. It literally at times I'm literally thinking about saying you should make your own YouTube channel doing reviews on pedals. Yeah. I think you do a cracking job, to be honest with you.
So well,
I like collecting them. I don't know. I like I take influence from quite a lot of bands that I like, so that's why I have that sound and put my own stamp. But then I also like turn my guitar into a synthesizer as well. So that's kind of my guilty pleasure. So I've been.
And how many guitars have you got? I mean, just
God, I use 3 at the moment. There's going to be 4, but in total I've got about 8 guitars. Okay. 2 in my bedroom hung up. I've got 1 that I just don't use for the band, and then just a couple just lying around for show.
And so who's the drummer? By the way?
It's Greg.
Greg. So can you practice at home, or is that just
no? I've actually got an electric kit, so I've kind of dusted it off, and I've been playing it quite a lot during lockdown. So I've been fine.
Okay.
Yeah, it's been all right for me. I did used to have my kit set up, but the neighbours actually complained once, just saying it is getting a bit loud. So
how rock and roll is that?
It's the story of a drummer, though, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
And so, any other random lockdown purchases or anything?
I'm thinking about buying a new kit at the end of either this month or next, because I feel like I need a new one, and it's more
you're kind of bored. You're bored with your kit you've got.
Yeah, and to be fair, I've had my eye on it for like a year, and I've saved up quite a lot during lockdown, so I thought I might as well just buy it and hopefully treat myself. Exactly, I deserve it. Yeah.
I mean, would this stuff be cheaper now? I mean, there's so many. I guess because people aren't touring and not buying much. Would this stuff be knocked down in price? Maybe,
not at all. I have been checking, and it's still the same price. But
yeah,
okay.
Just looking for that flash sale.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
You got another DPD driver with another sort of flight bag with another bunch of stuff outside, sort of thing. So, one interesting thing I read about you guys was that you played for Elton John. Well, civic reception, is that right?
Yeah. So that was a strange one. I can't even recall how it came about. Was it Abe who got us that one, Greg?
I can't remember either. I think it must have been Abe. Yeah,
I don't think it was.
Okay.
Or somebody that probably such a long time.
It was
ago.
Yeah, but the script was we got asked what to do this gig, and it was like basically if you bought a certain ticket for this Elton John gig, you would get like a meal, prior to the gig, and there'd be some like entertainment going on as well. So we got asked to do it, and like at the time we were just coming about, we're quite a young band at this point.
I think it was like our second or third gig.
I know, so quite a good third gig or something.
No pressure then.
But
it was so busy
absolutely.
as well. I just remember I was like shaking before going on. I was barely even playing as well.
I know. Well, it was. We ended up like going on. I think we literally get like what was it, like a 10 or 15-minute set we had. It was like you basically like someone else is on like one side of the stage, you then go on another side of the stage, get set up whilst they're on, and then you crack on. So it was just literally like clockwork after that. It went all in time, but it was over and done with before it finished. And to be fair, I mean, we were like, checks us, we just played an Elton John thing, like swanning about the place, and like he wasn't even there.
We were looking for him. We were like, I wonder what
we're trying to find him. Yeah.
Oh right, so he wasn't sitting front row or anything then.
No,
we would have done a cover of Yellow Brick Road if that was the case.
I know.
But no, we were waiting to see him, but unfortunately he was locked up away in a dressing room somewhere.
Okay. I was laughing. I wasn't laughing really, but I was looking. You were asking about musicians you'd like to play with, and it was quite a strange mixture. It was Johnny Cash, Tom Waits, Lennon McCartney, and Alex Turner.
Yeah.
So I mean, if you put them all together, it'd be a fantastic gig, wouldn't it? I think
it would be not bad band. Yeah.
I mean,
you can't think who'd be a singer. They can't all sing it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't hear much Johnny Cash in Electrify, that's for sure. But
Wee bit Alex Turner.
That's Greg's picked that one.
Yeah,
Alex Turner. I think.
Yeah,
so.
We kind of like the vibe in which we've kind of I did most of the writing, and me and Lloyd. But the vibe that I've tried to capture was like I love the Art Monkeys, big fan of them. I like their later stuff as much as I do like their older stuff, but. It would have been quite interesting to see, how it would have turned out, if they kept that ferocious sound they had in Favourite Worst Nightmare.
Yeah,
and we really like, well, me personally, I love the album. I know the boys do as well. But we kind of want to put that sound to the test, almost like make that sound, what they could have, went on to do, so to speak. So Electrify, Addiction, so some of the other ones as well, like even earlier on. All kind of
even like Get Out.
Yeah, even Get Out can all maybe be in that kind of same genre of like a third, like kind of.
It's almost it's like I kind of think of it as it's like high octane. It's very fast paced. It's very like on the go. So it's kind of like if Favourite Worst Nightmare had like a follow album. It's kind of just like sounds that would progress. It's almost like an evolution or evolving.
Yeah.
Okay. And did you go and see the Arctic Monkeys when they played Aberdeen?
I've seen them a fair few times. I was at Transmit as well. That year it was absolutely roasting. And we've seen them there. I was at the start of the Tranquility Base Hotel and Casino kind of tour, and they played Transmit. And it was great. I mean, they're always going to be good. I mean, I think Alex Turner is probably one of the best songwriters kicking about today.
Yeah, I'd like to think he's sitting writing some more stuff during lockdown as well. You'd imagine, kind of coming out the far end. But
absolutely.
So you mentioned that sort of one of your favourite venues in Aberdeen is Drummond's, and I've heard before that the Aberdeen scene is lacking some venues to play in. You think that's still the case, or?
Definitely.
I mean, the venues we've got. Don't get me wrong, they're ace. I mean, I love Drummond's, love Lemon Tree. Unit 51 was quite a nice one just to do for a change. Tunnels was good. There's heaps of them, heaps of venues, but I mean, you always do want your city to have a bit more variety. I'd love to have, like a really cool like basement style kind of like club, with like I suppose Tunnels is that really, isn't it?
The thing is, there was
it's like underground.
Downstairs at Malt Mill was a good venue.
Yeah,
but obviously that
is exactly that kind of vibe. Yeah.
Because the Malt Mill's it's closed now. It's not even a bar.
It's not. Yeah, it's been shut for a couple of years. But that's where we used to play down there when we first started as a band. And we always.
I absolutely loved that venue.
Yeah, so did I. It was class. Like.
That was the first gig that we ever had. Was down there. It was like our families and like a few pals, and like it was for like a charity event, and we went up on stage, and my dad's got the footage on his laptop of our first gig recorded on his phone. And
mad.
It is shocking. I haven't heard it in years, but it is shocking. I'm jumping about spontaneously, like just for no reason at all. But yeah, but at that time you thought this was it. Yeah. This is like the start of your journey. It's like the biggest thing of your life, and it's quite cute actually when you're like 19.
Well, venues get closed as we've kind of gone on. Like obviously Garage as well. That we supported Cast there, and that was one of our best gigs. But it's shut down now as well. So yeah, definitely lacking.
So to obviously promote, I mean, obviously you've got the single out tomorrow, which is great. But normally you'd be playing some live gigs to promote that. But I mean, is that going to get played on the radio? You think? Or I mean, I'm not even sure the local radio. I'm not a big listener of local radio, but will they play your kind of stuff, or is that just get missed?
We've always tried to speak to the likes of Original, even North Sound and stuff like that. I think what Howard is responsible for is just the age range in which they capture probably wouldn't be into the sound that we've got potentially.
We also get the excuse that what is it? It's not up to them. There's a playlist that needs to be that they need to go on, and we can't add songs.
Yeah,
because we actually won a North Sounds One to Watch thing at New Year, which meant we got our song played on the breakfast show, but it didn't get played till about just after lunchtime, and we had to keep messaging them asking to play it.
We had to pester like hell. They wanted us to get an interview and stuff as well, and I was a faff to get organised as well.
We were there for about an hour. Okay. 30 seconds on interview.
Yeah.
We were like, what? Because folk were like listening in, and they were like, when's it on? We're like, it's meant to be on soon. They were listening for like an hour, and it still wasn't on. So,
okay. So
yeah.
Okay, so I'm thinking Aberdeen needs Michael as an alternative.
Yeah, sounds like
set it up, boys.
Yeah,
I mean, I'd like to, if it was like if they would actually, take bands in, because there's loads of bands kicking about Aberdeen, and all they need is just a bit of a push. I mean, who knows what could happen from a bit of a push? Who knows who could be listening on the radio?
Yeah, I mean, I was thinking about, there's loads of, obviously, I'm sure there's loads of bands in Glasgow and stuff, and maybe they're getting on Radio Scotland or Vic Galloway or whatever sort of thing, but I don't think there's an awful lot up here that gets, so there's definitely an opening for that, I think. So
fingers crossed. We'll have tried to speak to likes of Vic as well, but just to no avail. We actually travelled from Aberdeen to Perth just to see him. He was doing they had a big weekend down in Perth.
Yeah,
a few years ago, and we actually travelled down. They were doing a little thing in one of the hotels there. And we came with we seen Vic. We were going to be there. We took a CD down with us. We gave Vic the CD. We had cards. We gave him one of our cards, and we kind of we came up the road, feeling quite good about it. Yeah. And I think we had to pester him a couple of times more after, just to kind of see, we met you at this thing. Can you play our song? Can you try? You know what I mean? And eventually he did. He played it once, and that was it. But it's hard. It's really hard to get on these things like Radio Scotland and even like Radio X. All these stations. It's hard to push yourself.
Doing the same thing,
exactly. Yeah. But you think a local band, Aberdeen, local radio station,
I think
would
so.
be keen for that.
But
you'd think, but it's harder. It's a hard thing to do.
Right.
Yeah, unless you become the big shot, then they'll kind of go, oh, we've kind of need to jump on that train, but they won't support it.
Okay. I wonder how easy it is to start a radio station.
Yeah, well, I think an internet one is fine, but it's the cost of licensing the music is the expensive part of it, Terry. So unless we club together our pocket money, I think we're going to struggle.
It's got to be done.
Just do a pirate radio.
We'll be the first band.
Yeah,
on So today as well.
That's good. Well, look, guys. Thanks for your time today. Really appreciate it. Wish you all success with your single tomorrow. And I'm sure hopefully we'll meet up in person sometimes, and we'll buy a pint and have go to a gig sometime soon. Hopefully.
That's all, guys.
All right, thank you.
Nice one.
Time.
Take care, guys. See you later.
Right,
Bye.
see you, Matt.
And by the way, one thing we didn't ask them when we had that chat was where the name came from.
Yeah.
And I asked them on Twitter this week what the name came from, and it came from one of the guys' granddad. He's Italian, and his surname was Capollo, so they thought that would be a quite cool name, very mafia-like, but quite cool name for the band. I thought so.
No, it's a good name, and they were great fun. So best of luck to them with the new single, and obviously, whenever they can get gigging again, we'll be off to pay a wee visit, I think.
Oh, definitely. So this week we have this Love Record Store event, Michael, on Saturday, the 20th of June.
Yeah. Well, as you know, Terry, Record Store Day, it was the main linchpin for a lot of independent record shops around the country, and that was victim to the COVID lockdown and has been rescheduled for a little bit later in the year. So Love Record Stores as an event is something which is intended to fill the gap a wee bit for the independent shops, and it's tied in nicely, I suppose, with the start of whatever kind of summer that we're having. It looks pretty dreary out here today, and essentially it's a couple of the independent labels and distributors have put together a roster of limited edition, generally coloured vinyl records from the likes of Radiohead. So there's a white vinyl version of Moonshaped Pool. There's a 2 LP picture disc from Oasis. New Order's Music Complete. You can now get that on orange vinyl. And there's a reissue of Mogwai's Mr. Beast as well, which I think has been much sought after locally. So this event is on this Saturday, and it's an online event only. So you can't walk into shops, obviously, because in Scotland they're certainly still all closed. But you'll be able to buy these records from 9 o'clock from your local record shop, hopefully.
Okay. Now you say it's online only, but if you were in England, could you, or shops, you think they're planning to sell them over the counter, or?
I don't think so. No. I think in some cases they may have a click and collect thing where you can go in and get it afterwards. But the whole idea was, when they picked the date of June the 20th, they had no idea that the lockdown was going to be eased in England at that point. So it was conceived as being online only because they were not sure of the status of whether retail could open at that point or not. But anyway, it's a welcome thing, I think, for record shop owners. They'll be delighted to have something different to offer,
Okay. And it's just the point, this is completely separate to Record Store Day. This is not related. So,
It's nothing to do with Record Store Day. None of the releases from Record Store Day are in there. There are a couple of the releases originally that were penned for Record Store Day have fallen off that list. So we've had things from Soft Cell and I think Blank Mass, and also the Neil Young album that's out this week. There was a Record Store Day variant of that, but those are all just straightforward retail releases now.
All right. Okay. So they're available from day one, sort of thing.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Cool.
Good. So, and then TV, we've been watching a wee bit of this this week, and I must say I've been, almost hiding behind the sofa every time I see a new episode of BBC Two's Monaco, Crown of the Rich.
It's just, it's so horrible. I mean, you've been there, haven't you? I think.
Briefly, yeah.
I mean, I always fancied thinking it was somewhere very glamorous, but when I watched that program and the people in it, I mean, was David Coulthard, was he in the first one? Or
he was, yeah.
And I mean, I like David Coulthard, and they're there because it's tax free, I guess. But I think even they didn't know who he was a lot of time. But I mean, just they're so decadent, though. I mean, I don't know, and the boats and the cars, and I mean, how the locals can afford to live there. I mean, I guess they do get subsidised, but I didn't find anything particularly likable. And the prince himself, I mean, he was like a jumped up town mayor, wasn't he? I mean, with all the trappings of royalty, but none of the heritage. There's nothing spectacular about Monaco in any respect, is there? No, I didn't think so. And I thought the bit where they had like their national day, and then the royal family walked back to the castle, or not even castle, whatever it's called, and they wave from the balconies like the Queen would do here. And I just thought that the folk in the square were kind of almost forced into doing that, and it didn't look a particularly joyous event. And I'm sure people who go there, you can afford, was it a €25,000 bottle of champagne, and
I know
40 grand for a suite, just phenomenal. You can never imagine ever being able to afford that kind of cash. So
I'd say, in fairness to the locals there, the ones that they interviewed who were working in the hotels and maybe on the harbour and that, they were all, remarkably unfazed by all this wealth and bad behavior and that. And it's like, it's also something for them. They've got to put up with it, that they've got a certain lifestyle. They get, a certain amount of subsidy to where they're living compared to somebody who's walking in off the street. And they seemed fairly measured about it. But, there were very odd things there. I mean, that penthouse suite, the Grace Kelly one, which was a 15 grand a night, was it?
No, that was 40.
40
for a night.
Oh, God.
I can remember back in the day, now I'm talking not that long ago, maybe 15 years ago, a certain North Sea oil and gas operator, a UK-based company, you'll go unnamed, had an office in Monaco. And we almost visited for this project. And the only reason it was there was because the people coming to it didn't want to pay taxes into anywhere else. So they came to Monaco for meetings. And even that, the people who were there said they just couldn't afford to live there. I mean, they were there for a couple of weeks and that was it, sort of thing. But on the flip side, I know we're not a TV review show, but I would recommend the Salisbury Poisoning Show.
Yeah.
I watched the first one of that yesterday. I know it's on Sunday. Almost too soon to do it, maybe, but
I know. Some of those people are still alive. It
was only a couple of years ago, but it's not giving it away. Obviously, people know the story, so it's available. But I think that's worth a watch, actually. So
and sorry, just to go back to Monaco again, and there is a tie-in with Russians in this as well. I mean, there's some of the things about the place were just downright bizarre. The police. The number of police they have, it's like something akin to what you get in Oma or Monaghan, Terry, isn't it? One policeman for every 70 occupants there. And they had this hilarious bit in the latest episode, which was on Monday, of the crime of the century in Monte Carlo. Two pissed English guys running off without paying for a pizza. It's like a national lockdown in Monaco.
Well, trying to find these guys, sort of thing. So, but oh my goodness! Oh well, I haven't watched the second. I'm going to watch the second one this week, actually. So.
Sorry for spoiling it for you.
No, that's fine. That's fine. I'll definitely watch that again then. So,
and you've also been watching not TV as such, but Jacob Dylan's documentary on the music of Laurel Canyon, which is called Echoes of the Canyon, I think.
Yeah, no, this is on any kind of rental service, so Amazon or Apple or whatever you want to buy or rent it from. So I quite like these kind of movie shows. There's one on Sound City, which is the recording studios. This one's basically the Laurel Canyon music scene in the 60s. So Laurel Canyon is basically in the Hollywood Hills, sort of north of the sort of Sunset Strip. Where remarkably in the 60s, the Beach Boys, the Mamas and Papas, Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young, etc., all ended up. I mean, Tom Petty did live there as well, and Jackson
Johnny
Bryan.
Cash, I think, was there for a bit, wasn't he?
Johnny Cash was in it as well. Loads of people all living, and they had one. It's basically a documentary. So Jacob Dylan was making the film. The film's also, there's an album that he recorded with various more contemporary artists, Cat Power, Jade, and Fiona Apple, I think, and like a live concert, which is kind of cut into the documentary where he's speaking to Jackson Bryan and R.I.P. Tom Petty. It was great to see him again. Talking about the sound that they made, and I mean Brian Wilson, who's absolutely batshit crazy. Like, so, I mean, he comes in at one bit, and he's a genius. I think. I mean, he is clearly talking about how, and they all recorded in each other's homes, and they all kind of bounced off each other.
Yeah,
Michelle Phillips was there, and she was talking about how it was very promiscuous, and obviously drugs were fairly available all over the place. Who was the guy, the producer for Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young was on it as well. What's the guy's name? And Stephen Stills clearly has taken a lot in his time. But they're all, I mean, Roger McGuinn from the Byrds was in it, and even today, apart from the fact he wears a lot of strange hat in it, but obviously Compass Mentis and talking about writing songs, and it's definitely, if you like that kind of era of music, or even if you're just into music in general, it's very interesting, and probably akin to maybe the sort of London in the 60s and 70s with the Stones and the Beatles and the Who and so on, bouncing off each other. And but I do like the music. I've listened to a few stuff this week that I hadn't heard before, the Mamas and Papas, for example, and definitely worth a rent and a watch for sure. So
good. Well, I look forward to seeing that whenever I don't have to pay for it. Okay, Terry, on to music reviews this week. We've got a couple of albums you've been listening to. I've got it in my hand here, the first one, Liam Gallaghers MTV Unplugged has been reissued, and you can get a very nice splattered vinyl version of that. What did you make of this, Terry?
I have to say, I really enjoyed it. I mean, it's sometimes I find these Unplugged sessions are a bit dull, but there's been a few good ones over the years with Nirvana, and there was Neil Young was good, and so this one is recorded in Hull in August 2019. Sort of Liam Gallagher, I guess it was touring his last album at that time. It's got a great mixture of songs from obviously his solo stuff like Wall of Glass. It's got onto Oasis, some might say, Cast No Shadows, Champion, Supernova, and it's a good record of a fantastic, what would have been a fantastic live concert, I think.
Yeah.
One song in particular is called Once, which is on his new album. And I have to say, I've played that song over and over again. It works perfectly in the kind of unplugged acoustic with an orchestra. Very good. I mean, his voice is, it's still the old sunshine, which is a bit annoying, but it's definitely worth a listen to. I have to say, I've quite enjoyed listening to this over the last couple of days. And
yeah, so the songs survive the transition into a slightly more stripped down kind of arrangement.
Yeah, I think so. But the last one I listened to was Biffy Clyro did an MTV Unplugged, and their songs kind of work kind of perfectly as well. It's not they're not much different to the original versions, but a bit more stripped back. And the orchestra, it's the Urban Soul Orchestra, whether you're interested. What I did learn from it was that Noel Gallagher's middle name was Thomas. I didn't know that.
Is it?
Yeah, because he gives him credit for writing songs, which is nice for him. So, but no, it's good. And then to tie into this one slightly, I think the BBC next weekend are showing the '94 set from Oasis in Glastonbury.
Yeah,
which looks funny even just for Liam's jumper. So I would recommend, if you're a fan of Liam Gallagher, you definitely like it. But certainly have a listen to that song once. It's great. So
yeah, and as a complete contrast to that, we've got two other things we've been listening to. You've been listening to the new album from Go Go Penguin, which is on Blue Note.
Yeah, so I bought this record from a local shop. That's all right, and I only bought it because I like the name. So there we go. I had no idea who they were. I thought the name was funny. I like the cover, which is it is a penguin, but you got to look at it. It's a very stripped back sort of package, a lovely sort of white. It's a clear vinyl. It's a jazz album. It's their fifth album, by the way. And again, I knew nothing about the band whatsoever, and I've really enjoyed it. Actually, I've played it several times this week. It's instrumental. It's some of the titles. One of my favorite songs is called F Major Pixie, which should give you a clue about the music, and one called Signal and the Noise. But it's very enjoyable. I don't know. I have no reference to say about jazz music particularly. I did like the film Whiplash, which again I listened to recently. But again, I couldn't comment on one jazz album to the next. But if it's not too jazz, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I've sent my son and my daughter's boyfriend a link to listen to it on streaming services, and they both came back saying they're both into kind of urban hip hop rap sort of stuff, and they both really liked it. So it's quite funky, and it's definitely worth a listen to. I would say give it a go, and I'm going to go back and listen to their previous albums. So
good. Well, that's high praise indeed, Terry.
Yeah.
And we've had a delayed single which is getting released on Friday from Squitty Politti's Green Gartside. Now, he's an unusual character. He's kind of disappeared off the musical scene for almost decades at a time, but he's come back with a 2-track single, cover versions of songs by late 60s folk guitarist Anne Briggs. And he's kind of contemporized these two songs, really. There are little bits of beats and electronica in the background, but there's still essentially folk songs. And his voice, I mean, for a man must be probably in his early 60s at this stage, is immaculate. I mean, the thing about Squitty Politti, I did see them once supporting Saint Etienne about 10 years ago, and they were a band who hadn't been touring at all, and they turned up and did this support slot, which was just awesome in terms of the musicianship. It was like watching Steely Dan on stage. So, great thing to listen to. Recommended.
Okay, excellent. I don't want to go back, but I've just remembered what the event was I bought a ticket for, and it's quite an important one actually. So it's called Save Our Scottish Venues, and it's on this Friday. hosted by Vic Galloway, with Katie Tunstall, Father Son, Honeyblood, Hue and Cry, The Excerpts. Tickets are a $5, and you can just search for it online and you'll find it. Obviously, it's streaming this weekend. So.
Yeah, it's a good lineup and a worthy cause.
Yeah, so, absolutely. So, all right.
Good. So next time, Terry, I think we're going to have a guest interview. Well, a review, more to the point, of Bob Dylan's new album, which has been getting some fantastic press, and we'll have a whole heap of other stuff as well.
Yeah, I look forward to it. So until next week.
Yeah. Till the next time.
Thanks, then.